Welcome to ZOOMERTIMES TV. And here's your host, Anita Finley.
Hello, everybody. This is Anita Finley. I love doing this with you, and I have so many interesting guests, but whenever I have Dr. Mohsin Jaffer on, I love it because he is so effective, so vivacious, so smart. And I've been doing this with Dr. Jaffer for many years, but it's a treat every time I can capture him and get him on. So thank you, Dr. Jaffer, for being here. And we've always loved senior medical associates because you founded this many years ago. And I want to take you back a long time ago. When you were a kid, did you ever always think you wanted to be in medicine? And secondly, being in medicine, did you always want to help the seniors?
Thank you, Anita. Hi to your viewers. Medicine has to be a passion, I feel. I came from a business family in Mombasa, Kenya, East Africa, and all of them were in business. That's my pedigree of businesses. But I was enamored with medicine. One of my friend's father was a gynecologist, and he gave me a doctor's set as a 2-year-old. And I fell in love with the idea of becoming a physician. And that was my passion, and I never wavered from it, despite my family thinking I was wasting my time. But I'm glad I persisted and persevered. And that's the message I would like to give to all the seniors and all the parents out there. Let your children do what really grabs their imagination and their passion, because they'll be happiest. Unfortunately, most of our fellow citizens are miserable Monday to Friday in jobs they don't like. But what if you are doing a job that you love and is your passion? It's so much more rewarding. So that was my passion, medicine. I persisted and persevered, and I became a doctor. And then I came to America for further training, and then I asked to stay. And I'm glad I'm here because we grew up in Africa. And similar to Africa, other places in the world still have the old American idea. In the old days, you all grew up on a farmstead. Grandfather and grandma were there. Your parents were there. We all grew up together. And this was one big family. And the grandparents took time to talk to the grandkids, gave them their ideas, their advice, and their love, care, and attention. But now in America, our societies have changed because of the logistics. The children go away, the kids grow up separate from the grandparents, and sometimes grandparents leave and come to warmer places like Florida. So this connection has been lost of a big extended family. So all folks, people 65 and above who are considered seniors in America, are neglected in that sense. Because what do we want as we get older? Love and affection of our family and friends, and to feel useful. So can you imagine, I'm retired, I'm doing nothing, watching TV all day long, and my life is going away. I have no purpose, no ambition, and no stimulation to be doing something good. And this is the worst punishment that we give to our seniors, make them feel useless.
You know, I have to say the whole word retirement is really a fallacy. It shouldn't be retirement. It should be repotting or rejuvenating or something else. And I know a lot of people, we both know people that they come to your medical practice and they're not happy, and they're not really sick, but they're not passionate about anything, and that's silly. And yet we know people in their 90s and later who are still doing so many things. They're volunteering, and that's keeping their health. So what do we do about this, Dr. Jaffer?
I'll give you an example. In my Western office, I had a patient who was a high-powered executive, but he was getting up there in years. He was definitely over 65, and he got a bypass. So he decided to retire. And after a few months after physical therapy, he was fit again. And he says, I'm going out of my mind sitting at home. I said, why don't you become a greeter in Walmart or a bag boy in Publix? Get out of the house. And he did exactly that. He went to Publix, and very soon from bag boy, he became a stalker, okay, to stocking the shelves. And guess what? He comes and tells me a few months later, he said, Dr. Jaffer, I'm so grateful that you told me to do this. Guess what I'm doing? I'm lifting boxes, I'm putting things, I'm doing physical activity. I wake up in the morning, I have some, and he does it only a few days a week, but he says, I have something to do. And here is the biggest payoff. Those kids who work with me have no ambition. They are the lowest paid of all. And I talk to them and I instill in them ambition and desire to excel. And I have changed the lives of so many of these young kids. Today, they have got aspirations. They've got ideas to greatness. And many of them will go ahead. They're getting their high school diplomas. They're going and getting better jobs. They're doing night school. All of them are improving their lives. I feel so useful, so important in their lives. Thank you. This is the best thing I ever did. So
yeah, that's it. That's a great story. And there are many people who volunteer. They're not actually even working because they can't get any money, but they volunteer at the performance theaters. They volunteer at other senior centers, and they are so much happier. You're absolutely right, but I don't know what we're going to do about this because of the ones who don't get it.
So you see, today, in recent times, there is shortage of labor. I think, like you said, you don't retire, but you re-engineer, okay? Now, I could have been an executive, but I can be a crossing guard, but I can now start volunteering in the hospitals or get a job because I found out seniors are very reliable. They don't have hangovers. They show up on time and they stay long after your time is over. They are dedicated to their job. They are very diligent workers. So I think America has to rethink our labor issue and re-employ all these seniors and give them some flexibility because a senior is very active in the morning, but by afternoon, his energy level goes down. So employ them for half time, so that they don't run out of steam. I think America has to really change and take care of our seniors, because here is another thing. We as a country spend 19.6% of our GDP on healthcare. And we don't even do such a good job because we are number 34 in the world in United Nations WHO standing. We have the best medical care in the world, hands down, yes. But we don't take care of the simple and minor problems, okay? And we do not empower our seniors who are the biggest users of medical care. More people who are seniors get admitted, more seniors need chronic health care, and they need more procedures. So it's the seniors, but if we kept them healthy, if they kept them mentally sharp and engaged in society, can you imagine how much we would reduce the healthcare cost burden? We would really improve their lives and their performance, and in return to the society, they would cost us less because you and me all pay for Medicare, and that's getting more and more expensive every day.
And let me add something. Every time a senior is sick, it not only affects all that you said, but it affects their family members. And then their family members think they can fly down here if they don't live here, take care of it, and then fly back home. So it's really a continuum. I think that people, if they can have their family members living with them or close to them, it's the best thing at all, because especially the grandchildren. Do you know how many friends I have who've never even met their grandparents? They didn't know them. I was fortunate. I knew my grandparents. My family was pretty close and we all lived in Miami Beach, but so many people have no idea about these things. And so older adults can now really take the place of a grandparent if they just get into some of these organizations where the kids are, the little children. You're right. You really have caught it. And as a physician, you saw so much of this for so many years. And I'm so glad that you're here today with us doing this. Let me tell everybody again, it's Dr. Mohsin Jaffer. He actually is on the Broward Health Foundation board with me, and he's just extraordinary. We're so fortunate to have you and to have you here in Broward County, and all your physicians at the Senior Medical Associates. You do. I've always been impressed with you from the first time that I went to your center and saw it wasn't like a medical office. You know, there was food around, there were people, they were friendly. That's really your modus operandi, isn't it?
You're so right. It's, you see, somebody who takes care of my body, my mind, body, and soul has to be trusted. And trust is not, you don't get it offhand. It has to be earned. So the physicians must show that they care about their patients and their well-being and welfare. So like in our offices, we tell the patient, you are the captain of the ship and you own the ship, but we are navigators, we'll help you. But it's with your permission and with your understanding of what we want to do with you and why. So once the patients get a buy-in and they start trusting their physician, then their health improves. Because that's the greatest tragedy in America, that right diagnosis may be made, right treatment may be prescribed, but the patient doesn't do well. Why? Because the patient didn't believe the doctor and didn't take the treatment. So we need that trust factor, that companionship and partnership, where a patient feels my doctor is my partner. And the whole premise of this partnership is my wellness, how I do well. Because I don't want that bypass, I don't want that stroke, I don't want that major surgery if I can, I don't want that colon cancer if I can prevent it, if I can prevent a heart attack. My doctor has to advise me now, because what he tells me now or she tells me now, 10 years from now, I can get a heart attack, stroke, or a cancer, which could have been avoided. And this.
But Dr. Jaffer, I think that those are fantastic words, but it also ought to go to the doctor. The doctor needs to take the time and the trust factor. I think that instead of when you call, the first thing an office says is, what's your insurance? They should talk more about, we are a organization where we build trust with our patients. That's what they should say, not what is your Medicare card.
You and me are together with on the Health Foundation of Broward County, Broward Health Foundation. We'll probably work with the hospital because they've got new administration and they're very enthusiastic about doing things for seniors. So I think we should embark on a program where seniors are included, where seniors are educated. Also, another big problem is seniors have no idea about financial well-being. Usually it's one spouse who takes care of everything, and God forbid he or she dies, the other spouse is clueless about what happens. So financial and fiscal responsibility, we should teach them. How a lot of people get swindled by hackers and by swindlers. So we must embark on a program. We educate them on how to watch out for people who might want to take a disadvantage of them. You see, so we can start a program where we make patients welcome, like YMCA has got programs for seniors. You see, all senior centers do things, and we can encourage our doctors to come and give speeches and talks, but also to encourage them to eat better. So if you get a dietitian from the hospital, the hospital could donate her time and they would come to a center, or in the hospital itself, we could have classes. So they eat better, because one of the worst things that happens is you grow old, you don't cook, and you just buy fast food. And that can be very, very unhealthy.
So Dr. Jaffer, do you know, years ago, they had a program in Broward. I think the Broward Health, all the hospitals participated. It was called Lunch with the Doctor, and or breakfast. I forget what it was, but it was very successful, as a matter of fact. And are people now going to outside and not just doing Zoom meetings? Because once that starts again, when people feel more comfortable, we ought to start something like that, Dr. Jaffer, and let the Broward Health, all with the foundation could probably sponsor it, and we ought to have it at each different hospital during the month. And I would be more than happy to work with you on this.
It's a fantastic idea. Every hospital could do that. when we're doing that once a month. And doctors would love to come, and it doesn't cost much to provide a small meal or
Oh,
a
well,
snack.
they have the cafeterias there and all, and you know, for years, and you participated, I had the cure symposiums, which were what we had about 12 doctors during the day, and we could have two or three doctors actually in that hour, even doing a panel discussion, and you could be in charge of this. I just think that this is a great idea, and we need to maybe talk to the foundation, but
Yes.
I'm a little leery of starting this until after the new year, till people feel more comfortable. What do you think?
I think you bring a very important point. In this pandemic, seniors have become very, very reticent in going out unnecessarily or exposing themselves, because even though they are vaccinated, they still can get COVID, unfortunately. You see, it's not foolproof. So they are still worried, and they are trapped, they are worried. So I feel that once this scourge of the COVID pandemic is abated, I don't think it'll go away. Unfortunately, it's here to stay, because some of our fellow citizens don't want to vaccinate, which is beyond my
Yeah, beyond me
understanding,
too.
really.
I know it's.
And that has really affected us, because new variants are coming on. Already there is a Delta Plus. So
Oh, really?
unfortunately, yes. So which is more virulent and more transmissible. It's just the nature of things. The virus mutates, just like the cold. Every year we get cold because we can't find a vaccine for it, because it mutates so fast. Vaccine, we can predict the new variant, and we make a vaccine in a prediction. It's a prediction, actually, but it saves millions of lives world over. And similarly, we'll have a COVID vaccine that we give probably every 6 months until we get a better vaccine. And we'll be doing that for a long time to come. And people will still be getting sick and still get COVID. But at least the number and the severity will be reduced, I feel.
Yes. The other thing is that, I was thinking, if you don't want to get a vaccination, let's find an island. Or you don't like it, just go live on this island. You don't have to get vaccinated. I know that sounds silly, but they are being very selfish to everybody else. But let's also talk about the flu shots while we're doing this. I had my flu shot, and I do every single year. I think people should do that, because that helps, doesn't it?
You did the smartest thing. I got my flu shot too, but a lot of people will come and tell you, oh, I never take the flu vaccine. Why? Because the last time I took it, I got sick.
Yeah, right.
Now, you do not get this. I'll repeat this. You do not fall sick with flu by taking a shot. It's a killed virus. It is incapable of giving you that sickness. What may happen is that your body mounts a very, very vigorous response to that vaccine. And you might feel sick for a few days as if you got flu, but you are not having the flu. It's just your body training itself how to react to the flu virus. God forbid you get infected, but it's not the real infection. So I want your viewers to be completely sure and assured that this is a safe virus to take. Some people might get allergic reaction on the arm, they might get a swelling, but these are minor compared to when you get flu, because it kills about 20 million people in America, you see. So it's not a benign virus. I mean, 20,000, sorry, my mistake. 20,000 people in America.
So while I have you, there's one more thing I want. Might as well get all my information, which I always do from you. Talk about the shingles shot, please, because I haven't had one of those.
You see, those of us who are born in the boomer generation, most of us got chicken pox. There was no shot for chicken pox, you see. So we got chicken pox. Now, the beauty of this virus is, unfortunately, once you get chicken pox, that virus stays in your body forever, and it resides in your spine. And then when your immunity goes down, because once you get the infection, your body is strong. So it has built an immunity, and it can fight any more chicken pox coming to you. But as your immunity wanes, when you get to be 50s and 60s, then this virus starts getting frisky, and it comes out again. And you have seen how people get shingles, only half of the body, that's along the nerve root. Depending where you get it, you can get it on your face, and it is horrible. It can be very debilitating, and it can come and go away, which is fine, but it may stay forever. And this is called post-herpetic neuralgia. And this can be debilitating, can be so painful. I've got some patients who couldn't shave anymore. Some people are going crazy with the pain because it's constant and it's always there. So why risk it? Take a shingle shot and avoid the possibility of getting shingles again. So see, so you had chicken pox, the virus is there, take the shot, bring your immunity up, and God forbid you will never get shingles again, ever.
What I want to ask you though, is if I did have it once around my waist minimally, would I get it again? Could I get it again? I never had a shot. Does that matter?
This is a good question, okay? We feel that the immunity garnered with a shingles infection is not so strong. So we still recommend having a shot. It's still a good idea to get the shot and keep your immunity high. And if you have had shingles, you know how bad it was. And if you don't want it again. So I would recommend you get your shot anyway.
Okay, well, you always tell me things. I am very happy though that, why don't you talk about, your family. Now, I know your mother, is she okay? I know she's in Africa and you went.
No. My parents died, and my father-in-law died. He was in his 70s, but my mother-in-law just died this March.
Oh, I'm sorry, because that's when you went to visit her.
She was 92, but for Africa, that was very good. She was in Mombasa, Kenya.
Yeah, you were wonderful.
We used to visit her very often, a couple of times a year.
I know you did, and that was great. So you saw her then. Well, I wanted to ask you about her. So yeah, well, of course, the thing is that people are living so much longer. And of course, you knew I wrote that book, Live to Be 100 Plus. And I see it all the time. And I see women, especially women, who are just exciting. They're doing so many things. They're getting remarried. I know a couple, a man is 93. He married someone 4 years younger than he is. And they're happy. So I don't think life ever ends till it ends, Dr. Jaffer.
I used to give lectures on sex in seniors. And you'd be surprised how neglected that intimacy and that connection has been ignored. And a lot of them, as you get older, you just get into a life without intimacy, without touching, without hugging, without all those things. And it's so sad. And the sexual act is completely ignored. And sometimes just because a spouse died, it's regenerated because you got a new love in your life. And I'm glad that they pursue that. But I think there's no reason for people who have been long married to ignore that area of their life, because that intimacy brings closeness and is a great factor in happiness.
There's a movie, it was beautiful. It was Jane Fonda and I think Robert Redford, and they were neighbors and they were single. And she once said, she came knocking on his door and she said, I need to sleep with you. I'm not gonna have sex. I just want to be with someone in bed. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. It was absolutely wonderful. And they did. And every night she'd come into his bed and she just wanted to be close. Eventually, though, they did get together, but it's so typical of why, people want, it's not so much the actual sexual act as cuddling or holding hands or all those nice things. So I'm sure you still do that with your wife. You cuddle and you hold hands among other things, right?
Sex is a very important part of anybody's life, and ours too. But
Yes.
You see, people don't realize that the sense of touch is a very powerful motivator of our endorphins secretion. When you touch somebody, you exchange that extrasensory perception and sensations, which cause release of the feel happy hormones, serotonin and 5-HT and epinephrine. and norepinephrine. These hormones make you feel good, make you feel happy. And
Well, I feel good and
They're
I feel
touching us.
happy. When you come on the show, I feel good and I feel happy, and we've just run out of time. But I think we ought to pursue, I'll talk to you personally, then we maybe can have lunch or something, and then we'll talk about things, because you are such a great resource, such an enthusiastic, incredible man, and I don't ever want to lose touch with you.
we'll make it a mission to take
Okay,
care of
thank
our
you,
seniors
Doctor.
in Broward County.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jaffer, so much, and have a great week, and I'll call you, and thank you again.
Take care.
Bye. Bye, everybody.